Vantage Mobility is one of our customers that we've had for several years now, and they take minivans and make them wheelchair accessible by installing a ramp system in the vans. And their old system, they call it the VMI-6, is obsolete now. A lot of the parts in it are not available anymore. They wanted a complete redesign that would lower the cost and be an improvement in functionality and be available for expansion in the future. And so they came to LHP, asked us to do this design. So we did, from the ground up, we did a complete hardware design. We used a third-party board layout company that laid out the hardware for us. We wrote all the software for it, and the software runs, it's a single piece of software that runs on a Chrysler minivan, Toyota minivan, and also a Honda minivan. So on this project, we delivered a new controller. They call it the VMI-Q. The old controllers they previously used numbers. It was VMI-6. The VMI-7 was an attempt at doing a new version of the controller that got scrapped. So we were going to do the VMI-8. They held a contest internally and came up with the name VMI-Q. So we designed the VMI-Q hardware. We designed the software that runs on the board. We designed a handheld device that displays an LED readout of the current state of the system for diagnostic purposes. Technicians will be able to use that to diagnose and monitor the system as it runs. And we also created a service tool that also that runs on a PC, and it also implements those same LEDs, and it allows the technician to view motor currents as the ramp system runs, and it also gives diagnostic information from the van, and also will display things like ramp cycle count, kneel cycle count, and also allows the user to deploy the system from the PC tool, and allows the user to reset the counters. And there's also future features that will allow the user of the tool to update parameters inside the controller. VMI came to LHP a year ago saying that they wanted to do this project, and we got all excited about it. We're ready to go, and then didn't hear from them again until the early spring, saying that they wanted to go ahead with it. We actually started the project in May, and then now it's December, beginning of December, and we're making the final deliveries to the customer. It's a very ambitious project, very tight timeline with all the items that we had in the project to deliver. At times it felt like we bit off more than we could chew, but we stuck with it and had a plan, stuck with the plan, and got through to the end with a product that works and the customer is quite pleased with. We had a team of 2 full-time throughout that duration, two full-time employees throughout that duration, and some part-time help on the service tool and on the handheld tool, and also with some of the testing that we did. So a total of probably 5 or 6 engineers, 2 that were full-time through the whole project. VMI has outsourced all of their engineering and software work to LHP, and this is just the first phase of this project. There's going to be ongoing maintenance work next year, and also additional features that they want to add to the hardware, to the software, to the service tool. The VMI-Q hardware is based around the PIC32 processor by Microchip, and we used the Microchip compiler to write the code, or to compile the code, and we wrote all the code in C. The handheld tool is also based on the same processor, and we were able to port most of the code that we wrote for the VMI-Q port the pieces that we needed from the VMIQ into the handheld tool. It's a very simple design, and there's plenty of room in the handheld tool for expansion. In the future, we'll be able to do data logging with it. We want to install a switch in the handheld unit that will allow us to deploy the system just like we can from the PC tool, and allow a technician to plug in with the handheld tool, monitor the LEDs, and then press a button to deploy the system. That's one of the future improvements we're going to do with that. The service tool, the PC service tool, was written in C# and using Microsoft's WPF framework for the application. And let's see, it installs easily into any PC with a simple installation program, and the driver for the USB interface to the VMIQ gets installed all automatically with the package, and a technician's able to install the application, plug in his USB port to the USB port on the VMIQ, and it works fine without any further installation beyond that. Some of the initial work that VMI had us do with them several years ago, back in 2008 actually, is when we our first project with them, and that was reverse engineering the CAN bus on the Chrysler van. The OEMs do not cooperate with VMI by providing them with the CAN specs for the communication inside the vehicle for liability reasons. But they don't mind that they reverse engineer the communication in order to allow the VMIQ board to communicate with to allow the VMIQ to receive data from the CAN bus. So we did that work back in 2008 on the Chrysler, and then in subsequent years we did the Honda van and also the Toyota, and they added those over the course of the past 5 or 6 years. So one of the challenges with the VMIQ is we did all 3 of those vans all at once, and it was quite challenging, but we were able to create a single piece of firmware that runs on the VMIQ, and you can take one board, or you can take one VMIQ and plug it into any of the vans, and it will detect where it's at. You can also take one out of one van and put it into another, and it will detect what van it's in and change its configuration to run inside the van. That was pretty ambitious design from the beginning, and we were able to make it all work. One of the things that we needed to design for this project was a communication protocol that would work on CAN and work on USB and would be proprietary to VMI. So we were able to create a proprietary protocol that's based on the ISO communication standard. And if you're familiar with UDS, it implements some of the UDS services. What that allows us to do is in the future, if they want to do OBD or OBD2 type diagnostics, we will be able to make the VMIQ friendly to that, or we'll be able to make the VMIQ compatible with OBD2 communication, and they will be able to do diagnostics and integrate those with the vehicle possibly in the future. So one of the reasons they had us do this redesign is the old controller that they had was obsolete. The parts that they use in the controller are becoming harder and harder to find, and the cost is going up. So we designed this with cost in mind. We were able to reduce the cost of the controller, but also with growth in mind, and keeping the controller relevant for a long time into the future. VMI is planning on growing exponentially over the next few years, and they wanted technology that would be able to support that growth. The PIC32 processor that we are using is way overpowered for the current application, but in the future, when they want to add more vans or there's more features that they want to add, we will be able to support those without having to upgrade the processor. It also has plenty of memory on board that we can use for future applications as well. So we designed this with forward thinking in mind, that what they have will be able to expand with them as they grow. So as I said, we've worked with VMI since 2008, and we started out just being a consultant with them on the CAN protocols on each van, and from there they started having us do some troubleshooting on the firmware. One of the issues that they face is keeping an engineer busy enough over the course of their business cycle. So when a new model year comes out for a particular van, there's a lot of work to do, very busy, and they have very tight deadlines. But once those deadlines are met, there's nothing left for the engineer to do, and they sit around with a lot of idle time, and they get bored and go look elsewhere for employment. So that's really a perfect situation for LHP, because we have a lot of engineers here with the expertise that companies like VMI needs, but we also have other customers that when they don't need us, we have other things to go do. So like I said, it's really a perfect situation for them and for us. But it's also risky for them to put their trust into us, into a third party for really the heart of their system. But it was over the course of 5 or 6 years of displaying LHP's abilities and capabilities and our trustworthiness and doing what we say we're going to do that gain their trust, and they really do treat us like we're employees with them when we're on site there, and they really have put their trust into us, and we've followed through, and we were able to deliver this product to them in a timely manner, and we've been very flexible with with some changing requirements. We're able to accommodate those, and both LHP is happy with the final result, and VMI is very pleased with the final result, and we're going to move forward with more work in the future with this type of working relationship.